What's up, Kings, and welcome back to the channel. If you've been watching for a while, you probably saw my last video, which was on the Avenge-X in 22 cal, but today we're going to be checking it out in 25 cal. I'd like to give a big shout out to our main channel sponsor, High Pressure Pneumatics, for sending this over, and also to Saber Tactical, who provided the very nice chassis system for this rifle. So if you watched my last video, you know that I did promise a review on this in 25, and for today, I've got a cool idea of how to review this. So most of you know I am one of the top-ranked NRL22 airgun shooters in the world, and so what I wanted to do, my idea for this was, let's see if we can get a dual tune where we can shoot big 34 grain 25 cal pellets somewhere between 850 and 875, but also shoot some lighter 30-ish grain slugs right at around 900, 910. And that way, we then have a dual purpose rifle. You can load it up with pellets to shoot squirrels in the backyard. And if you want to do some long range stuff or possibly even shoot an NRL22 match, you could switch over to slugs, all on the same tune. So that's what we're going to be trying to do today. Without further ado, we're going to go down there and get started. All right, we're going to step into my little happy hole, the heated shooting shack brought to you by Vivor, and I've got that diesel heater in the corner popping away back there because it is cold. It's like 40 degrees and I'm seeing a couple of snowflakes. So keep in mind, with any air rifle, you're not going to get the best performance in cold weather, but we're going to review it in this weather anyway. You'll probably get about, I don't know, 20 FPS better in the summer, and it'll just run a little bit better. And this gun I have not added my REG BUTTER to, which will give you also better performance. So this is straight factory, no modifications other than the Saber Tactical stock. And I know I went over all the features for this gun in my previous video when it was in 22 cal, and I've recently switched it over to 25. So I was initially going to do a video on how to swap the calibers, but everybody's already done that. It's simply 2 screws up here, you pop the barrel out, you change the probe, you slide the new barrel in, and you're good to go. So this gun is a lever action gun. Today I'm going to be using the QD Fox magazines. These are fantastic, way better than the factory magazine. The factory magazines will be an 8-rounder and a 13-rounder, and I think these are 13, and they've got the flip lid like FX magazines, so they're just so much better and easier to load. So we'll be using those. I'm going to shoot some 34 grain pellets, just your standard heavy 25 cal, and then we're also going to shoot the 29.0 grain 249 slugs from Nielsen Specialty Ammo, and these are, it seems to like these. So I have not done a ton of testing on this. I wanted to show you kind of where I'm at on the reg. I am about one little tick mark under 200 bar, so probably right around 175 bar. I've got the Orc Air Black Label scope on there. Those are awesome. I'll leave a link in the description and comments for the scope and really everything I used. And then we've got a Saber Tactical chassis with a UTG buttstock on there. So we'll go ahead and get started here. I've got no moderator on this thing. This gun is integrally suppressed. You can add a moderator, as you can see there, but I don't really feel like this gun needs it. I've also done one other interesting thing. So with the Saber Tactical chassis, I actually put an additional M-LOK Picatinny rail on here, and I was able to find one with a flat back. And what I did here was I mounted it to the M-LOK slot here, and then up here, I don't know if you can see, but I've got a couple of nylon washers and then a screw going into the factory barrel band. And what that's going to do is it's going to rigidize everything and tie it all together. So that's one thing that's not factory. That's kind of my own homebrew stuff. But other than that, these guns are fantastic, and they've got a pretty good trigger on them just from the box, and I haven't adjusted that at all. So I'm pretty happy with this thing, but let's see how it groups. What we'll do here is I've already got my target stand out there at 50. We're going to go ahead and shoot some groups with the pellets and the slugs. We'll note the velocities of each, and then we'll move out to 100 yards, test that. And I think as the coup de grace for this video, I'm going to walk out here, I'll grab my tank trap right there, and we'll do a little NRL22 stage with some of the steel targets that I have. So I'll dream one up, and then we'll see if we can reliably shoot kind of an NRL22 style stage with this thing. And, you know, keep in mind, if I was going to deck this out for NRL22, I would definitely be adding some weights and some other things here as well. Probably a SG pulse level and some other things. But today we're just going to shoot it as is and then see how it does. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this thing started. But before I do, my little tune here is to try to do something that I haven't seen anybody else do, which is to have the same exact tune without touching anything, to go from pellets at about 850 to 870, and then to the slugs, the 30 grain slugs, right at about 900 to 910 or so. But if you want really good tuning videos on the Avenge-X, check out Steve Sciali's videos on the Airgun Exploration and Advancement channel, or AEAC. He's got so much tuning info for both the 22 and the 25 in 2 separate videos on his channel. If I remember, I'll try to link those below. But I did shoot a little bit with this gun a moment ago, but it was warm from coming out of the house. So it's been sitting here for about 30 minutes, kind of acclimating to the temperature outside here while I set up for this video. So we'll see how it does. And I'm just going to start shooting it so you can see the exact results. You guys know I don't pull any punches. So we'll just go ahead and get started. I've got the chronograph set up there. I've got the 34 grain pellets programmed into there in terms of weight, so we'll be able to see the foot-pounds. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get started. I've got a little bit over 4,000 PSI in the tank, so approaching 300 bar, and we'll shoot these pellets and see how they do. And since I have super bad tinnitus, I'm going to use ear protection, even though this gun really doesn't need it. All right, so we've got our target out there at 50 yards. I put pasters up over everything I already shot, except for that little group. That's what I just shot. That's like 8 or 9 shots at 50 yards with these pellets. And I adjusted my zero a little bit because it was off some. So let's just try, I guess we'll try to shoot this one right here. And we'll see how we're doing on the chronograph and what kind of group we can get at 50. Okay, it looks like we're low, and that was 860. That's okay, we're just shooting for a group here because I had this actually more zeroed for the slugs. Okay, about the same hole. All right, I think that was 7 shots. So let me just see what kind of foot-pounds. So that's 56.6 foot-pounds at that 866 FPS. You know, I'm just going to leave it at that screen. I'll take like 3 more shots. All right, so we're cutting a pretty decent hole there. That was 9. We'll shoot 1 more. All right, so that was 871. Which is going to be for like 57 foot-pounds. That's a ton of power. That will kill a coyote. Let's take a look at some stats from that. And again, I didn't really try to refine this tune a ton. So, but still, I mean, shots 10, low of like 860, high of 871, standard deviation of a little over 3. That's really good. And we've got a spread of 11 FPS. So not bad. So once I go up there to check out that target, we'll look at it up close, but let's just keep it rolling here. We're going to switch to slugs. I'll go ahead and clear this out, and I'll add the 29 grain in for the projectile weight. All right, I'll load up one of these QD Fox mags with the 29 grain Nielsen slugs. Now keep in mind, these slugs are not 25 cal. I mean, they are, but they're .249. And I just basically haven't really dabbled with a ton of slugs, but I knew I wanted something in that weight. And I didn't know if I should go with like 25 caliber, you know, .251, whatever. But I saw these sitting there, and I've had good luck with a lot of Nielsen slugs. So we're just going to try these. It seemed to like them pretty much. So I think we'll have some good results with them. And hopefully I won't need to adjust my zero because we've had the gun sitting acclimating to the cold, and I haven't really messed with it much today. But go ahead and give her a shot. I guess we'll go for the opposing target on the other side here. All right, so that's 912 FPS. .907, a little lower. .905-ish. So these probably want to be thrown a little bit faster, and we could do that with more reg pressure, but then we'd lose the around 860 sweet spot on the pellets. And you know, in my previous testing, I was actually getting a much better group than that. But we do have some same holes. Let's take a look here. So 903 is about 52.5 foot-pounds. So that was 10 shots. Let's take a look at some stats here. And then I might just shoot another group. But we've got 10 shots, low of 903, height of 912, so that's a spread of 9. We've got a standard deviation of 2.54. That's really good. So, you know what? I think 3 more shots in that magazine. Let's just send them. And we'll send them, how about we send them at this one right down here? And I'll try to be very, very stable for these 3 shots. Okay, a little low. Of course, my rickety bench in the side shot is not helping me with superior accuracy. I think that was maybe through the same one at the bottom there. But you know what? You guys are here and I'm here. Let's shoot like another 10 at this thing and just see if we can do a little bit better. Because earlier I had this thing straight up stacking with these right around the same speed. I might have leaded it up with a different lead from the pellets or something. So we'll give it another 10 rounds. And don't sleep on the tube version of this thing, man. It can get mad shots out of that thing. And definitely enough to get you through a 12-round NRL22 stage and much more. Usually you're getting around 40 to even 50 or so shots out of these things. So I'm just going to check my reg pressure. All right, so I'm right at about 3,000 psi. So I should be able to get off these 10 shots for sure. So that's already 20 shots out of this thing, and I have it tuned not that efficiently. I'm kind of pushing it sort of hard. But all right, let's just shoot another group at, I guess, front and center right there, and I'll try to be as stable as I can on this rickety bench. All right, there we go. It's looking pretty good. Man, that's looking real good. I'm gonna jinx myself. A little low on that one. All right, so we're still right around 900 FPS, which is what I wanted. Oh, I pulled that one a little, but still a pretty respectable group. Okay, so that was another 10 shots. Let's see the stats from all of that. So that was 23 slugs, and we've got a low of 894 and a high of 912. Now I notice with this gun, as you get lower in tank pressure, even though it's regulated, you seem to lose a tiny bit of velocity, and I think I could remedy that if I put some of my specially formulated reg butter in that reg, which I might do later. But still, we have a low standard deviation. Anything under 5 is pretty good, and a spread of 17. So let's go up there. We'll check out the actual groups on target, and then I'll move that thing out to 100, and we'll see how it does at 100. All right, let's check this out. Now, we do have moderate wind today. It was 8 to 10 miles an hour, so that's not too bad at 50. Definitely capable of shooting chipmunks and squirrels all day. If I had done kind of some more super focus on the bench, I probably could have tightened that up, but not too bad. Here's that first group, and I think there was some leading from the different type of lead from the pellets, but look at that second group. Now, I did kind of pull that one and that one, but right there, that's pretty good, man. So I think that is acceptable accuracy, especially considering it's a budget gun, where you could load that thing up with slugs and legitimately go and shoot an NRL22 match and maybe even do pretty decently with it. And at least you'd get a flavor for, do you like shooting matches from there with your budget gun? And then you could potentially, you know, get a Panthera or a DRS Pro or something like that and then really compete. But that is not too bad. So we'll move this thing out to 100 and see how she does at 100. All right, guys, we've got that target down there at 100 yards now. We do have some wind. You might be able to see it playing on my heated shooting shack, but keep in mind, this is kind of in a wooded area, and that's way out in the open. So the wind is much more down there. In any case, we're only going to do the slugs. I've got 2 magazines loaded with 10 rounds apiece. I think I'll start with 10 rounds, and if we think that we need to put another 10 rounds on that thing, we can. So I'll go ahead and start the scope cam. And I have listened to my stray lock, which is telling me that it's about a 3.6 mil dial at 100. Now, also, I have noticed I've lost about 12 FPS or so just due to the rifle sitting out here in 40-degree temperature after coming out of the house at, you know, 72 or 75. And that's just the name of the game with air guns. If you bring them into a colder climate, you're going to get less performance. So with all that said, let's just go ahead and rip this thing. And you're going to see maybe a little bit of heat mirage coming out of here because I do have that heater running. So sorry if you hear that ticking. But let's go ahead and see what this thing can do. Man, would you believe it? Spring is coming. I can already see little bugs and stuff flying around in that field, even though it's like 40 degrees. That's crazy. Okay, got the chronograph set. And let's try to just be as stable as we can and let these fly. Oh, 909, a bit high. Okay, 905. That was exactly where I aimed it. I am not sure where that hit. It might have been same hole. Wow, this is grouping really good, even only at 903. I think these slugs do want to go a bit faster. But hey, you can't complain about that right there. Well, you can kind of complain about that, though. Now, again, I have not looked at those slugs. I took them out of the bag, put them in the magazine, so there's no pre-selecting, and they are not lubed. Normally, I would lube slugs for a gun shooting slugs, but not today. All right, 898 FPS on that one. 895. All right, so that was 10. And if I measure with my reticle, that is all within 1 milliradian. It's actually like 0.8 maybe. So that's pretty good. What do you say? Should I shoot 10 more at it and potentially have my group open up more than it is? I think we're going to do it because I don't pull any punches in my reviews, man. I just put ammo in these guns and I shoot them. And whatever I see, you guys see. All right, so we got another 10 in here. Let's see if we can try to stay in that small group. Why did I say that? You know? Looks like the wind shifted. I can see it. I mean, most of them are stacking. Okay, I saw that one get pulled a little by the wind. And you can see the wind back there on the grass. It's kind of switching left to right and doing all kinds of stuff. So that is what's going to happen to you at an NRL22 match, is you're going to have winds like that. Oh, that one got pushed a little too. I saw it fly sideways. But we're just going to keep holding dead on. Okay, so that should have been 20 shots. Let's take a look at some stats. All right, so 20 shots, low of 893.8, high of 909.3, average 900. Standard deviation still under 5, baby. That's pretty good. And we got a spread of 15.5 FPS. And looks like those shorter slugs are having a BC of around 0.06. And that's what I plugged in to my ballistics calculator. So let's go up there. We'll take a quick look at what we did. And then I'll set up some steel targets and we'll do a little mock NRL22 stage. Okay, let's take a quick look at how we did at 100 yards. That is not bad. There's my thumb for reference. And for a budget gun with minimal tuning, man, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's try to see. So we're maybe at the longest right at about 3 inches or 3 MOA at 100 yards, which means we should be able to hit my target. Now, I'm noticing that the tendency for the ones that are off the main group are high, which tells me when I shoot the 3-inch steel at 100 yards to maybe aim a little lower than center on it. So we're going to try that next, but that's 20 shots at 100 yards, and that is not bad for an out-of-the-box budget gun. All right, fellow air shootists, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this 3-inch plate at 100. This is the typical size that you'll see at an NRL22 event at 100 yards. We're going to put a 2.5 at 75, and we're going to put this 1.5 at 50. And I'm going to shoot it off the tank trap, and we're going to use all 4 positions on the tank trap for 12 shots. So in case you're unfamiliar with what that would look like, we'll do off each tip and the center knuckle, and we'll just go near to far. So it's going to be 50 yards, 75 yards, 100 yards, next tip, and center. And in no particular order. And here's a tip for NRL22. If you're going to start a stage on a tank trap that has no particular order, start at the center knuckle, because you can get low and much more stable, and you'll be able to see what the wind is doing a little bit better. So we will do that and see how I do on a typical NRL22 stage. All right, Kings. So I have my 1.5-inch target at 50 yards, my 2.5 at 75, and my 3-inch at 100. And we're going to shoot this tank trap stage that I've developed here. So remember, we're doing 3 shots per position. So the 3 tips plus the center that I'm sitting on. And I have basically looked up the dope in my Straylock app, and it's telling me about 1.8 at 75 and 3.6 at 100. And I'm just going to solely use holdovers. I've also downloaded my mag by 1 round to hold only 12 rounds because it's a 12-round stage. And I'll only be using 1 bag. Beware the man with only 1 bag. And this is a Freedom Shack Sandcastle bag. I'll also be using the side shot, which is going to make this a little bit more challenging. And I'm only doing 1 take because I've been working on this video out here for a while. So what you see is what we get. Even if I shoot a 0, I'm putting it on the internet. So let's see how I can do with this thing.
A few moments later.
All right, I'm about ready to shoot this stage. So I'm going to go ahead and preemptively load, and then we'll just do it like a regular match. So shooter, do you understand the course of fire? Yes, I certainly do. I made it up. Okay, you may load and make ready. Yep, already done. Okay, shooter ready. Yes, stand by, engage. So, as is tradition,
Canadian Prince now dipping his arms into the pudding, as is tradition.
we're going to start low, and for the most stability, and we'll tag that 50. Impact. Next, the 75. Impact. Parallax a little for that hundo. Impact. All right, looking good so far. We know the gun is accurate enough. Can I master this gun I'm not used to? That is the question. Impact. Impact. Miss. All right, one miss so far. All right, about halfway through. And this is always the most tricky position on this tank trap because it's kind of rickety, but we are going to do the best we can. Impact. 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 All right, in the last position, if I can just not suck here, that would be pretty cool. Impact. Impact. And we're going to parallax for that last target. Oh, and I missed it. Okay, so I told you whatever score I got, that's what you're going to get. I think I missed 2, so that's a 10 out of 12. That's a pretty good stage, especially tank traps are known to be kind of a difficult one. So can the Avenge-X do NRL22, especially in 25 caliber? Hell yeah. So let's go up there. We'll get a few last thoughts on it, and then I'll depart you guys. So the Air Venturi Avenge-X in 25 cal. Did we succeed in making a tune for both pellets and slugs? I would say hell yeah we did. So you saw pretty good groups at 50 yards from the pellets and pretty good groups at 50 and even 100 with the slugs. And you just saw me in this kind of windy day shoot a 10 out of 12 on a pretty challenging tank trap stage over there. So I am pretty happy with this thing. And so if you're maybe a budget air gunner, or you're not sure you want to spend the big bucks on like an FX or something, but you still want to try out NRL22 matches, but have a dual purpose to shoot squirrels in the backyards with pellets, this could be the ticket right here. And of course, this is available over at High Pressure Pneumatics. I'm going to drop some affiliate links like I always do in the description and comments. And guys, thank you so much if you're using those. I do not monetize this channel. Therefore, you do not sit through lame YouTube commercials. So, all you got to do is click in through those links. And even if it's not, you're not buying the product in the link, but you still click in through there, I still get some credit. So thank you guys for that. That is what is keeping the channel afloat. And I don't want to have to monetize, but I will eventually if I am not doing well on the affiliate links. But you guys are the MVPs and are keeping me going. So anyway, I'll drop links for all of the stuff I used. And definitely don't forget about the QD Fox mags, man. These are way better than the factory mags from this thing. And as you saw, they run flawlessly. So check it out. Hopefully you guys thought this was helpful and value the work I put into this today for you. So I'll leave you with that. Cheers. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.